My Hero Academia.
Okay, so hello and welcome to the My Hero Academia podcast, episode 93. This week we have a little bit of news, and then we are going to be reading through, we're going to be going through anime episode 84, as well as manga chapter 264, and then we have some emails to read. With me today is me, Sophie, and James.
Hi.
And Gary.
Hey there.
And we're very lucky to have Jay joining us again.
Hello again.
Congratulations on how well Bounty Light is doing.
Thank you. Feeling very loved and supported by everyone right now.
Do you have any advertising words of Bounty Light that you'd like to share?
Sure. It's a Battle Shonen inspired comic that I've been writing for over 10 years now, that I'm finally putting out into the open. There's a Kickstarter campaign for it, and it's going into its final week. So check it out if you can. I appreciate any contribution. And if you can't, lend any support because of financial reasons, feel free to share it around. I really appreciate that.
It's very beautifully drawn, but also a lot of people I've seen you sharing a lot of people doing their own fan art already.
Oh, yeah. Very appreciative to all the fan art. And, oh, yes, my artist, Janine Cipico, is amazing. I absolutely love working with her. It's also very easy working with her, too, in a sense, like, I'd be like, hey, do you remember that one chapter from Haikyuu where they do that kind of jump? And she's like, I got you. And she'll emulate that energy in the works. So,
wow.
Yeah. It helps that our interests are aligned and up to date.
Had you guys worked together before?
No, actually. I just saw her work show up on my timeline on Twitter once, and I asked my producers to reach out to her on my behalf. And yeah.
Wow, that's really cool. Okay, so we have a little bit of news, and we have some images as well. I'm just going to talk about the first one, the cat's picture. So many, I don't know what to name it. There's so many cats. Well, so many cats. 5 cats.
I would say Catterday, but
Oh, I was going to say Catawampus.
it did come out yesterday, so it is Catterday.
Yeah. Back will go in the back with a cat either scaring him off or he's scaring the cat. There's a cat with its mum hole in Izuku's face. Stupid Kaminari has, I don't know, a cat sniffing his armpit with a cat bum hole. What's Jiro doing above Kaminari with her leaf?
I think she's trying to get the cat's attention to play.
Yeah.
Which is funny because Kaminari's like pose is mirroring the cat and Eraserhead's lap.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Considering how much Izawa loves cats, his face is very uninfused.
He's gleeful on the inside, I have to imagine.
You can feel the gleefulness.
I think that's the biggest smile I've seen on him.
I didn't expect him to be a patterned socks man. I thought he'd be a bland type of socks.
He's got a better sense of fashion ever since, what was it? The nurses replaced Aries' outfit when he suggested cat sweaters.
Oh, that was terrible.
I zoomed in on it, and I was like, he's not wearing socks, he's wearing leggings. And then I realized I was looking at Ochiko's legs.
Whose legs did you think the cat was on?
He's wearing that. I was like, he's wearing that Knives Out cardigan or whatever
Oh,
it
yeah.
was, that sweater.
Oh, I want Sue's hat.
Oh, that's really cute.
That's very cute.
Mm-hmm.
Every now and then at work, I see like a little kid with a hat with like a ridiculous pom pom, and I'm like, I need that in my life.
We also have another sketch that he's drawn of La Brava and Gentle. He's spilling his tea on his face again.
And laughing.
Yep. Facial burns. Hilarious. What a hoot.
I like how LaBrava's tugging at him to be like, turn around.
Does anyone have any other news they would like to share?
Yes, I will say that we found out that the My Hero Academia movie broke the $10 million at the domestic box office. So that's pretty substantial, because I think the Broly movie was 17 million, I think. It is still considered one of the highest grossing like anime films for the US, if I'm correct. But that's a pretty good accomplishment, honestly, because it got more like theater releases too, so
Yeah, isn't it still showing over there? Or it's been showing for like quite a while?
Yeah, there's still showings. There's still showings. I'm surprised, because they said it was only for like 4 days, and it's been like over a week now.
Yeah, they're not really advertising it. I happened to find another showing by chance because I was out of town when the movie was doing its official release here.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got back, I saw there were like listings for the entire week, but no advertisement. I just had to I happened to be looking at the movie theater times.
Uh-huh.
How many people, you've been to see it 4 times, how many people would you say were in the theatre each time that you went?
Well, the first 2 times I was in Japan when it released, so those theaters were packed. But the next 2 times, they were a little less than half full. Mostly because I went to later showings, so I don't know if there were more attendees earlier, or were there more favorable times for the general public.
Cool.
Yeah.
But everyone enjoyed it, seemed.
Yeah.
Everyone gasped at the ending, so.
When I went to see it, there wasn't a huge amount of people there, but everyone was laughing, loving it the whole way through. And then when it came to the ending, everyone was sitting there like, what is this? I didn't see anyone like applauding, but I think that might just be grumpy British people.
Oh no.
But it had definitely a really good review. I heard a lot more people like laughing along than with the first film, which was also got quite a lot of laughs. Any more news?
The volume 4 for School Briefs is out. That just came out a couple of days ago.
Have you guys read any of the other ones? I've read 1 and 2.
I'm still going through 2, but I have 3 and 4 as well.
Like, I still need to.
I read a couple pages. I'm not a great reader. I like pictures.
Same.
I'm really bad. I used to read all the time, like literally, but man, I'm just too tired anymore.
I'll read like 5 volumes of manga in a day, but if you give me a book, I'll be like,
This makes my writer soul very sad.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I get it. You know, this is why I team up with people to make sure my stuff is read.
Well, maybe Gary, you'll try. Oh no, you've tried 4 pages. Which one did you read? 1, 2.
The first one. I own it. Like I have the volume on my device, but I don't know. Even with like a bunch of the manga volumes that I bought, like having the motivation to read it lately has been hard. Like not to get like too depressing, but like when I got like super depressed, like reading was like felt like a burden, like too much to do. I hate that, but yeah, hopefully I get better enough so I can be energized by reading again, you know.
I read the second. I preferred the second one to the first one.
I'm still going through the second one. I have a feeling I'll like the newest one because it takes place during the school festival arc.
Yeah. Maybe audiobooks would be more your thing, Gary.
Yeah,
That's
maybe. I need to try it because I started listening to podcasts about 1.5 years ago, like starting with this one. And yeah, I'm into it more than I thought I would be. Now it's hard for me to listen to music because it's like, I don't know, I can't pay attention as well.
That's what I was going to say. I'm able to listen to stuff at work. So, like, I listen to a bunch of podcasts. And then I do listen to a lot of audiobooks when I can. I use, like, what the heck's the app called? The Libby app, which is, like, if you have a library card, you can rent out audiobooks from the library digitally. So you can, like, listen. So I can listen to them for free. I don't even have to pay for them.
Cool.
Do we have any more news? I think that might be it. Okay, so on to the anime.
This is my hero academia.
Alrighty. Give me 1 second. Okay. All right. This week's episode was episode 84, Deku versus Gentle Criminal, and it was adapted from manga chapters 175 to 177. So the episode starts with Mina leading the dance team in rehearsal. We see a few students dancing, including a really stiff Ida as he goes along.
He needs oil.
Yeah. Oil can. Yeah. Anyway. Then Kirishima looks on in admiration of Mina's abilities, and then he thinks back to Bakugo, saying that they're going to kill the other students with their performance, and that those words motivated the dance crew as well. And I had to like heavily roll my eyes at that. Like, I'm like, who would be motivated by that? I can't even process. It's just it felt like a stretch.
Yeah, nothing's as motivational as death threats.
Right, I know. Okay, so then Midoriya is shown pulling on the rope holding Aoyama to practice their disco ball routine. I was a little alarmed that he wasn't wearing gloves, but apparently that's not a huge deal. I don't know. Then we see Hound Dog enter the room, and he yells at the students that they need to go to the dorms because curfew is 9 o'clock. Then we see a group shot of the students with Ida pumping his arm randomly as Midoriya reflects on the festival starting at 9 in the morning. Then in the dorms it's past 11 at that point. Mineta and Kaminari are too excited to sleep, and then the other students are asleep, but there's a few that are still awake yet. They're called the Night Owls later. Then Jiro encourages the others not to put too much thought into crowd response, as that will lead to embarrassment or nervousness, and it's best just to have fun while performing. Then Midoriya and Aoyama are reviewing their equipment, and Deku sees that the rope is frayed, so Aoyama explains that that's proof of their friendship. And then...
Sure.
Yeah. And he like mugs really heavily there in front of the camera. It's funny. So then, in a really awkward, high-pitched voice, Kaminari suggests that they have Yaoyorozu make a new rope. And then Mina interjects saying that Yamamomo is asleep and not to use her as a handy tool. And then Kaminari laments being treated as a charger by everybody. And then Deku volunteers to buy a new rope at a nearby hardware store at 8 in time to be back to the performance at 10 a.m. And then the Night Owl students cheer to make the event a success.
I was really surprised by who was a night owl.
Yeah.
I would never put Ida as a night owl. And even Todoroki.
Yeah.
I'm not buying that.
Yeah, like Tokoyami is like the most believable.
Yeah.
And then, because I was thinking too, like Midoriya is talking about, like, oh yeah, I'll be to the store by 8, but it's almost midnight. And then we see him training, like in the next little scene, before he goes to the store. So it's like, how much sleep did he even get, you know?
Not much.
Okay. Yeah, right.
Teenagers have boundless energy. It's hard for us to remember back to those young days.
I was like that once, now that I think of it.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so then we get the title card, and the next day, Deku is training with All Might outside, and a dirty, tired Mei Hatsume emerges from the bushes with Deku's new support item. It's a pair of gloves. And All Might marvels over how compact support items can be, and Mei also states that she made the gear to match the design of his hero costume. Then Mei hands Deku the manual, and she darts into the bushes.
And isn't this when we get her great line of like, oh, I can sleep when it's done. 36 hours of sleep.
Yeah, 36 hours.
So she's not sleeping or washing.
Nope. But we see, Mei kind of runs like a Looney Tunes character for some reason. Like in this scene, that she just reminds me of like very like Chuck Jones-esque. But Midoriya does thank her, and then All Might kind of suggests that they should try out the gloves like right now. And some jazzy upbeat music plays, which I really liked. And we find out that Midoriya is running late, and we see that the clock is at 7:50 a.m. And by the time he makes it to the store, it is 8:15 a.m. And at that point, he runs into Gentle Criminal, which he doesn't know it's Gentle Criminal, but we know it's Gentle Criminal. He looks like he's dressed like the Invisible Man for some reason. And we find out that the time for that was 8:30, and then Gentle tells Midoriya to please be careful because he almost bumps into him, and he says, "You're about to ruin the aftertaste of the Gold Tips Imperial." And we can see that, like, behind his mask, you can see that he's, like, really scared. And, you know, there's like, well, we best be on our way. And he almost calls La Brava. He says, oh, he calls her Honey. And La Brava excited, he says, like, yes, I'm Honey. And Midoriya remembers that Momo made some Gold Tips Imperial for them and remarks about the cafe, saying that you can't tell it's a cafe. And at this point, Gentle can't contain himself, so he does, like, a heel turn. And, like, the way he walks back to him, it's kind of like, it looked kind of comical to me. It looked like it was two people in a big suit for some reason. But Gentle asks Deku if he is someone who understands and that it's wonderful even though he is so young. And Deku remarks that he doesn't know much, but he just knows because his friend made some of that Gold Tips Imperial for them. And at this time, Deku realizes that he recognizes that voice. And then Gentle then also realizes that Deku must be from UA because he mentions about a high-class friend. And the awkward interaction continues when they finally both realize who they both are. And Gentle tries to leave, saying to himself that he says to himself that he can't believe that he got excited about tea. And Deku calls him out, and Deku puts his grocery bags down, and that's when we get a flashback of Midnight explaining that any alarm will shut the school festival down. And then we get another flashback of everyone working at the school festival. And Deku exclaims, "Don't make a move on my school." And we find out that the time is 8:33. And when we get to the ad break, it features Ida, and apparently he likes beef stew. And then we get Momo, who likes reading. And we do get more clapback between the two. And then Deku realizes that there's hardly anyone around because it's a Saturday morning, and that there are no hero agencies near UA. And La Brava says to herself that she has a feeling that she's seen this boy before. And Gentle tells La Brava to keep the camera rolling. And we see kind of Gentle's interactions, which I thought were kind of funny. But the camera. And then Deku kind of launches towards Gentle. He's like only sort of stopped by like a force field. And Gentle goes on to explain that his quirk is elasticity, and that he can basically turn anything elastic, which bounces Deku back. And La Brava thinks he's acting too violent with this. And while they do that, Gentle and La Brava make a run for it while Gentle apologizes. "I'm sorry, young man. I will overcome." And Deku springs back up and states that if you're going to apologize, then don't attack my school. And that's when Deku charges towards Gentle, and Gentle makes the ground bouncy, which makes Deku launch into the air, which the sound effect for that was pretty funny. And Gentle sympathizes with Deku since he too remembers about working hard at such events, and that he is sure that Deku has feelings invested into this. But that's where you go, Sophie.
So my favourite bit about the part you just spoke about is when they're having that weird convoluted conversation and they somehow work out who the other one is. It's such a strange conversation to have, and they put really like funny weird music in the background.
Yeah, it was so dumb. Like, and then like they have like they're both pause moments where like, wait, high class friend.
I really liked it. I liked it much. Well, we're going to talk about it at the end, but that music made me like that scene much more than in the manga because it just made it so much funnier.
Yeah.
It's a weird scene. And talking about weird, as that Gentle and La Brava bounce away into the distance, he says, your feelings can't win against my mustache and my soul. Both of the same level of importance. And as they bounce away, La Brava remembers Izuku for his crazy sports festival actions. Hard to forget. We then get a motivation montage where Deku flashes back to, I don't know, various things that are now inspiring him to fight, such as Eri being close to smiling with excitement, Jiro wanting advice on taking notes for band practice. I mean, what's more motivational than asking for help with notes.
I'll say that was cute interaction.
It was cute. And then May and Mina give him advice that spurs him on. And he goes towards our villains, and the fight then moves to the construction site, which I believe was from last week was point 7 in their 9-step action plan to get into UA. So they're only 2 steps away.
I believe so.
Yeah. Gentle then flies off and ends up getting caught by his cape on one of the metal rods, and he shocks Izuku by still remaining composed. And they have a little bit of a rambling chit-chat back and forth where Izuku tries to get the plan out of Gentle, and he easily succeeds. It's like, tell me your plan. Sure, I will. Here's my plan. And then that's it for about 5 to 8 minutes. Just a really funny conversation. Over to you, Jay.
Gentle's great. Yeah, so at that point, after Deku's trying to ask Gentle to give up, Gentle says, I guess we can't agree. I'll have you go to sleep, UA student. And he does this beautiful leg sweep of making the air beneath him elastic and bounces off to free himself.
Yeah, he's almost like a bouncy ballerina.
He's very acrobatic, yes. And while Deku's trying to predict his moves, the elasticity quirk is making Gentle really unpredictable as he's bouncing between the beams. Very Gran Torino style, which I really like. And even though it looked like Deku's firing his Air Force shot at Gentle and is about to hit him, Gentle still bounces off the air, dodging it successfully, and then the Air Force deflects right back at Deku, hitting him right in the cheek. While he's still trying to predict what's going on, Gentle explains that if they're air bullets, I'll return them with air membranes to counteract this new style that Deku just trained to learn. La Brava advises Gentle that they should retreat, but Gentle says not yet. And he begins to remove the bolts of a beam that he's standing on. And I really like the animation for this. He's just bouncing repeatedly over and over on the beam. And as he's explaining what's going on, or the limits of his quirk, that he can't cancel the elasticity on his own, that they gradually return to their own state, he releases the steel beam from its structure because the bolts are removed. And Deku notices that an old man, the bystander from earlier, is happened to be watching the construction site battle. And I love that he just goes, looks like something's shaking. And then we have this very devilish shot of Gentle saying, you are a UA student, or you're a student of UA, and bounces off the beam, which breaks. Deku runs over to go catch it and is pinned in a sense that he can't move from his spot because the beam is very heavy. And Deku's like very angrily stating, you were trying to drop it on the person below. But Gentle responds by saying, no, I just wanted to pull you in there, that I was always planning on making it bounce so it wouldn't fall, which I found very interesting, that he had a very villainous look on his face, but his intentions aren't evil. It's just like, yeah, no, I was never going to harm that guy. And the old man runs away because he's just scared. And Gentle and La Brava decide to escape via the crane by making elastic and launching themselves over. And Deku's wondering what to do. And meanwhile, it's 8:45 at this point at the school festival. Kaminari is bothering Bakugo and trying to get him to put on a t-shirt for the band. Mina and Oshiko are looking at their dresses that they've modified for the performance. Mineta is there. And I like this moment of Ayoma and Todoroki talking about Deku, the two Deku friends, asking, where is he? Why is he so late? He's supposed to be getting rope. And Gentle and La Brava are launching themselves over towards the school festival, and Deku manages to lift the beam with one arm and fire an Air Force shot with the other hand. Gentle dodges, and La Brava is worried about this whole situation, saying, neither you nor that boy will give up, huh? we should use my quirk. And we have this last shot of Deku looking very determined, and the time is 8:51, with the final shot saying there are 69 minutes left until the performance. And that's the end of the episode.
Dun, dun, dun. We'll go round. Gary, what did you think of the episode? You didn't. You
I
didn't
look forward.
watch it past your bit.
I look forward to watching it. Yeah. For for listeners, I watched my part and totally forgot to watch the rest. So I am a pathetic co-host here. But yeah, from what I saw of it, it was good. So I can't really comment too much.
Great, James.
I'll say I love the awkward interaction, that scene. But overall, I thought it was a good episode. I mean, there really just wasn't too much to it. It was just really just the whole interaction and the fight, which the fight was pretty good, honestly. I thought it was animated pretty well. I really liked the bouncing beams scene. That was really cool. But that's all I really have to say.
I actually really liked this episode. I think the anime is actually making me like Gentle. I didn't really like him in the manga, but I'm quite like him now. I think he's much better animated. They really captured his hilariousness. And we had a little bit. Yeah, we had
very
a little.
good.
I'm coming over to your side. We had a little bit of a chat about it before we recorded, but the first few episodes with Gentle's voice actor, his dubbed voice actor, are out, and it's great. Jay, I know you're a particularly big fan of the dub.
I always give my I try to give a chance to every interpretation as much as I can. And Funimation has a good track for their voice actors, and I was very curious to see who would get the performance, and I was very happy to hear an accent for Gentle. It was just a lot of fun, and whoever's translating Gentle's lines, very good translations. It's adding more flair to his dialogue. Similarly, I don't know if you guys ever seen Steins Gate. It's probably my favorite anime series I've ever watched, but I actually prefer the dub over the sub. Even though the sub features my favorite Japanese voice actor, Mamoru Miyano, as the lead, the translation for the main character in the dub really makes that character, because he's very kind of like similar to Gentle, very grandiloquent and over the top.
Oh, okay. Because I'll say I watched the sub for Steins Gate, but I've never seen the dub, and I was like too scared to watch the dub because it's like, what if it wasn't as good as the sub that I remembered?
It's pretty good. I actually recommend it. I also like that they have a character who's a little bit on the obese side. He doesn't have your very stereotypical Japanese fat phobic voice, so I really appreciated that.
How do they do a fat phobic voice?
Very like, I don't want to imitate it, but it's because it doesn't help that the character's also an otaku and like goes to maid cafes and whatnot, but like they just give him a really gross sounding like pathetic loser voice, while in the English dub they give him a very normal voice because his day job is like computer programming. So I'm just kind of like, all right, yeah, he's just a guy, he just has interests.
Yeah, that's better.
But anyway,
when you said they gave him a very like a nerdy voice, I do think I've spoken about how much I love the voice actor for Mineta, but I think the dub did a really good job there. It's got like a lisp, but I don't think it's them making fun of the character. It's just like it is making fun of him, but like in a good humoured way.
It's a very inspired choice.
Yeah. But no, the dub choice for Gentle and the accent's very funny, and the translation's very good. I think I've only seen the one episode anyway where they've dubbed and Gentle's in it, and it's the first time he turns up in the shop, and I preferred that to the sub. So maybe when I rewatch it in the dub, I could become a fan of Gentle. Who knows?
I think that's the only episode that's out right now. I believe the simulcast is 2 weeks behind. So, yeah.
No, I don't believe they gave the voice actors Christmas off. How dare they? Jay, what did you think of this episode?
If you guys have been listening a couple weeks ago when I was on, you all know that I love Gentle Criminal, and this is my favorite arc. Everything has been great. This episode's a lot of fun. I was curious where it would end, if it would end with La Brava's mentioning of using her quirk, or would it go a little further? But it ended right when she's about to do her quirk, so I have to assume the next episode carries on some of the bigger scenes that I'm very excited to see how they execute it. I won't say what, but
yeah.
But yeah, this episode was really lovely. It really I know a lot of people complain about this arc and that it's not as action heavy as the previous arcs, and I get these questions all the time. Anytime the students are doing anything school related, I get a message from a friend who asked me, is like, "Oh, is this filler?" And I'm just like, why do you think that every time? But it seems like some people just have certain expectations of the show, and so a slice of life style plot isn't really in their expectations. So I have to imagine that the beginning of Deku and Gentle's confrontation fills their need for, like, all right, so we are fighting again, where there is more action again. Just the stakes are not as high, which I kind of like, because, well, no, I disagree. I know people say Overhaul's arcs, the stakes are super high, but I like to say that they're a little higher for this arc, only because, yes, they're trying to save Eri during that arc with Overhaul, but more importantly, they're trying to teach Eri to overcome her trauma and smile for this arc, which is very important, more important than physically rescuing someone, I would say. And yeah, I want to see the concert. We all want to see the concert. Gentle wants to see the concert. So
he's actually a really big fan. He's heard Jiro's work before, and that's why he wants to go.
He wants to do. He's realizing his vlogs aren't getting enough clout. He wants to film the UA performance and then post it on his account so he can get more views.
They did pad this episode out a little bit, I thought. Like, I think some of the conversations went on a little bit longer than they could have done, and that motivation montage bits of it were maybe unnecessary. But I feel like they've done that because the fight scenes between the two of them are going to be like quite maybe longer, and there's more to fill in. So if they had pushed it back or got rid of some bits in this episode, maybe the future ones wouldn't have been as good. And also, I'm hoping that we get more than just like a few snippets of the concert. I'd like to see more.
Yeah, I want to see a full sequence. I want to see, like, whatever lyrics that hopefully they just come up with a new song if we get to the concert. So
it's exciting. Okay, so that is the end of the anime review, and we will be going on to the manga.
This is my hero academia.
Starting with the manga now, it's chapter number 263 called I Want to Be With You Guys. So we see the backs of some of the students and pro heroes as they're on the cliff outside of the villa, and it says almost time, and there's a whoosh. And I'm guessing it's Sero. He says, "Get up, grape juice." And Mineta is like, "Why? The rear guard's job is just to catch up." Let me start that over. Why? Wow. Why? The rear guard's job is just to catch any bad guys who slip past the front line. So getting all pumped up is actually kind of insulting to pros, right? And Sero's like, "Get up." And I find it ironic that Mineta is the rear guard. That sounds like something he would enjoy, but anyway.
Also, his sound effect for sitting down was pop. But I am on Mineta's team. Until they have to do anything, they might as well rest and conserve their energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're probably afraid that they'll be caught off guard if they do that, though. So Big Tiger Man says it's starting, and what's his name? Mobile Adonis. I know that's not his real name, but he says what? And Minetta's like, "You said that so casually." I'm so excited. And then Jiro has her earlobes, her ear jacks in the ground, and she's starting to hear something, and she looks up. She says, "They're on the move." So Tiger Man says, "This operation has brought heroes together on an unprecedented scale, but that's no reason to relax just yet. What this means is that we need everyone here to face a massive threat in front of us." And we get a shot of the Class 1A students that are part of that group, which is a good chunk of them. Mm-hmm. Then Jiro says, "Not too worried about Tokiyami, but what about..." And then she looks on, and Momo holds on to her arm to kind of give her a reassuring nod. "I'm sure he'll be just fine," she says. Then we get Kaminari trancing ahead, and he says, it goes tom tom tom, and then he yells, "I want to be with you guys!" Very dramatically.
Oh, it's the funniest transition. I'm sure he'll be fine. And then there's him running along just like, "Rah!"
Yeah, everyone is so stressed out about him. It's cute. Anyway, go on.
Oh, so funny. Okay, and then on the next panel, we have this great almost 2-page spread of all the heroes as they crash into action. And right in the center stage, there is Sonic.
No, that's right.
Do 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 do.
Yep. He's somehow looking even worse. His character design than before. Not that his character design's terrible, but the old terrible Sonic.
He kind of looks like the newer character from the Steven Universe movie, the pink one. I haven't seen that yet, so I don't know.
Spinell. Just the smile, I see. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. And all of the pro heroes there crashing forward. Is there anything that anyone would like to point out of all of them? The only one I wanted to point out was Fat Gum in the background. They all look like they're really charging forward, but Fat Gum does look quite casual.
I see Dead Mouse.
Oh yeah.
Right by midnight and right.
I got a comment on the scarf guy, in the wizard outfit. Have we seen him before?
He looks like Tom Baker.
Isn't he? Didn't someone do an internship with him? Momo.
No, I think it was Caleb was saying on his thread that could be the magic hero that Momo interned with.
Right, but we never actually saw him before this, so
he looks cool.
That's what I was kind of wondering.
He looks like Tom Baker, the Fourth Doctor from Doctor Who.
I see that.
He's got magic hoops coming out of his bum.
Yeah, I think that those are just the rings that Sonic's trying to grab.
Yeah.
Just kidding there, but
look at Kaminari's face. Look at Kaminari's face as he runs in the middle of them all.
Yeah.
This is Where's Waldo. I can't even find him. There he is.
Yeah, he's
Aww, he's got teardrops. I want to mention too that you can follow the official translator Caleb at CD Cubed on Twitter.
Yeah. So then below we see close up of Kaminari's terrified face, and Midnight says to him, "You knew what you were getting into. We need your quirk. Just think of it as helping out the adults who don't have what it takes." He's going, "What? Don't have what it takes? Nope, never thought of that." And he's now sweating more. Well done, Midnight. And Tokiyami just looks behind and says, "Kaminari, I learned something watching you play guitar. You're amazing."
Aw.
Yet makes it worse. Kaminari's not just sweating, now he's crying. "Praising my shredding skills, not helping here." Tokyo's just like, no, okay. And then we see Cementos jump forward saying, "Open up," and there's someone behind him that I can't quite make out.
I think it's Wizard Guy.
Oh yeah, maybe. You can see what looks like his terrible hat.
Oh, Wizard Guy. That might be his rings, because under Cementos in the big spread, there is another ring underneath him.
Oh, okay.
So maybe the magic guy sends magical rings and propels people? Or levitates them? I don't know.
Little boosters.
Yeah.
So Cementos is being pushed forwards. And then we cut to the building that we saw at the end of last week's chapter as it's being torn apart. And we can see some people on the ground saying, "The concrete's warping." And then Skeptic shouts, "The conference is cancelled. Get word to the assembly hall. Violet and Black regiments to the front exit. Brown, get out here too. Carmine, to the assembly hall." And then up the front we see, I forget which team Scary Man's from. But we see him approach. He says, "They got us good, Mr. Skeptic. Let's shake things up." And he is from the Brown Vanguard support regiment. So that is the one led by Spinner and Mr. Compress.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see Cementos going into action, kind of looking like it's pooping. But there we go.
He's very concentrated.
Yeah. That's my favourite panel of this whole chapter.
But we get this huge spread of like the walls opening up. He's like warped the landscape with his concrete powers, and it's like I don't know. He just made a giant hole through the building, and then we see.
Art.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty good. And then we see the Vanguard guy. He's saying, "This is what happens when we're just waiting for Shigaraki or whoever." I say we get this started. And we get another spread of like we see the heroes on one side, and then we see the vanguards on the other side, and then it says it's time for the Liberation Revolution. And you see I want to know what that lady's power is, the one that looks like a baker. It's Gary's favorite lady.
I love her. Well, she's touching her nose, so maybe it's like nose goes powers. I don't know.
But we see that, clash image, and then we see the more like of the building getting crushed, and then we see Toga and Mr. Compress that look like they're knocked off balance, I guess, and then we see Gan and Dobby too is running around. He looks like he's going like a different direction than the rest of the people that are either running away or running towards the heroes.
Yeah, but he is in. He was in Team Violet, so he should really be going with them. But
yeah, I wonder what he's
not.
doing.
Their organisation is very good because where he said it's Carmine team need to go to the assembly hall, looking in that panel with all the villains there, I can't see anyone that we know of that's in the Carmine group in there. So
yeah, that's true.
Good organisation.
Yep.
Oh, we don't get to see the giant frog-looking guy then. If Carmine's not gonna.
Oh yeah, Mr. Peepers.
Mr. Peepers.
Jeremiah, bro.
Oh, Jeremiah.
That was the name. Jeremiah. All right. They're saving him for last, obviously.
Yeah. But we go to the next panel, and it's Ed Shot. He's saying, "Don't let anyone escape. They're well-trained and ready to give their lives to the cause. If any of them get out, they could keep terrorizing other places in order to protect. We must attack." And we see a nervous Kaminari. And then we see Midnight telling Kaminari charge. And I guess that's his hero name, right? Or was he just telling charge or charge?
Charge
okay.
bolt, yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if she's giving him a nickname or she's telling him to charge, like charge forward. But anyways.
Yeah, just a shortened version, probably.
Yeah, and he says, "Midnight Sensei." He's like, "Don't let the stage overwhelm you. If imagining random people elsewhere doesn't do the trick, then think of the person who matters most to you right now." And he's thinking, right now. And we see a shot of the heroes from behind. And we see another... Okay, so Goku is on the top corner of that little panel.
Yeah.
You see somebody riding a cloud, which...
I wondered who that was.
Well, it's weird because Loud Cloud, Eraserhead's, childhood friend from Vigilantes and in, potentially Kurogiri, had that quirk. So I'm like, I was very confused seeing that. I was like, do they have the wrong person?
That's what I'm wondering who that is.
Yeah.
I'm just like, who's riding a cloud? And they also have like the pole that Goku has as well. So
straight up, Loud Cloud had the exact same
yeah.
So that's why I'm very confused.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be a like a Boruto or a Naruto character because the cloud, the way that it's drawn, is quite similar to there as well.
That's the Nimbus cloud.
Yeah, and then the panel underneath that, the guy that's running towards them kind of looks like he could be Kakashi.
Oh yeah, I see that. I can see that. There's also one that looks like Madara right there on the
right. I see him. Yeah.
And then we got Samus on the left.
Oh yeah. I was thinking where Midnight was trying to kind of comfort Kaminari. Like it would have been on brand for her to be like, just imagine the villains in their underwear.
It would have been.
I think that would have been
worse.
On the nose.
Anyway, yeah.
I was like, it's your Jay.
Oh, that's me. Oh, okay, yeah.
Is it Jay or Sophie? Oh yeah, it's Jay. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So after from the previous panel, Kaminari's looking back. We were zooming in back to the forest where everyone else is, while Kaminari's last line of "I want to be with you guys," and we see it's almost as if Jiro is hearing Kaminari, or they're looking at each other. It's very cute. Jiro says, "Get it done, Charge Bolt." And we have the Vanguard guy, I guess, charging up a taser.
I just noticed that.
It's something I just noticed is that he has a lightning bolt in his hair as well, similar to Kaminari. And he's charging up the taser and goes, "Your numbers don't matter. I'll crank up my amplivolts current and unleash it at full power. It reigns supreme." So I guess he can manipulate like electricity rather than generating it. Then we have this really cool panel of Kaminari whipping his head back forward towards the action. And he dashes ahead in front of everybody. And Tokuyami thinks to himself, "Kaminari, I know you now." And we flash back to when, I'm assuming during the school festival arc, when they're practicing their instruments. And Kaminari, I guess, like, hurt his finger while playing, says, "Ow." Tokuyami asks, "Shall we stop for today?" And on the next page, he goes, "You." He's like, Kaminari says, "No, let's go a little longer. That Jiro, she acts all shy and awkward, but I know she's nuts about music. So we ought to do our best to perform, yeah?" And Tokuyami is thinking, from the bottom of your heart, you care deeply about your friends. Which I kind of wish he said, from the bottom of your heart, you love Jiro, but that's okay. I'll take it.
Yeah.
we all know. We all know.
Yeah, we know. But I will say that you can see the detail, like in one of the panels, you can see like the his callus is starting to bleed when he's playing guitar. So like, yeah, he's going a little bit. He's going beyond plus ultra right there.
He's bleeding for her? Damn, come on, man. And so the Vanguard says Supreme Discharge Thundernet and releases a huge volt of electricity, but is shocked because it says, "My lightning attack is getting sucked up." And Kaminari says, "There you go. One big commander guy totally neutralized. Now let's mop up the others real quick so the guys we left behind don't need to worry." And this page is gorgeous. It is from the Vanguard guy looking at his lightning disappearing, and we have Kaminari's finger absorbing the lightning, or beginning to absorb most of the lightning. And as we go down, the finger is extending to him, peeling out of that panel as his whole body is shown on the page.
It's so cool.
Kaminari's awesome. It's amazing. I would be very sad if he suddenly revealed himself to be the Liberation or be a traitor, because I'm still skeptical of when he posed with the Liberation L pose on his forehead several chapters back when they're doing their practice interviews. So I'm just like, uh-oh. But no, I can't imagine him being the traitor. He's amazing. And then we end with a double spread of, while the inside of the building is crackling down, we hear Twice say, "What the heck's going on here?" And we have this very, very menacing silhouette of Hawks and close-up of his eyes, just like glaring menacingly at a confused Twice, who is on his upside down on his neck with a bunch of Hawks' feathers surrounding him. And Twice is like, "Huh?" Like really confused.
Oh, snap. Oh.
That's the end of the chapter.
Yeah. I like Hawks' little twiglet wings. For a while, I was like, "Oh, are they just behind his back?" But no, he's got his little twiglet wings.
I guess it's because that he's using all of his feathers at Twice. I don't know. So, in case Twice multiplies, and he can just quickly get rid of them. So,
this is such a good chapter.
It is good. I was going to comment on that last picture or that last large picture of Twice with the feathers, it gives me flashbacks of Sir Night Eye's tickle machine.
Oh no.
Oh. Before we go on, I have a question about this picture with Kaminari. So where most of the electricity, he's obviously absorbing it his finger, and then he's got his hand pointing towards the ground. Do we think he's discharging the electricity into the ground, or could he hold it in? We've not seen him do that before.
I think he's just holding it in. I think it's just a really cool pose of like, it's like, it's if for dynamic pose, like if we're focused on one limb, what is the other limb doing? So I think it's like trying to hide it, but in a really stylish way.
Yeah. I wonder if when he loses all his electricity, he goes into his derp mode. If maybe now that he's supercharged, he'll be like Momo level genius.
That'd be funny.
I want to see. I have a feeling Kaminari's gonna fire it back at that dude, because if that guy can only manipulate electricity from that taser, and he has that scar on his forehead, I have to imagine, or my assumption is that he can't absorb electricity like Kaminari can, and so that dude's toast.
Yeah, it could be.
They kind of missed the opportunity for Kaminari to be like, "Tase me, bro," to that guy.
Tase me, bro. Oh man, if by the end of this, if the students and everyone make it out okay after all whatever's happening, if Kaminari doesn't just straight up ask Jiro out, then I don't know, or vice versa, then I mean, what was the point of all this? But
yeah.
So earlier I wanted to say when Dabi and Getten are separating and the whole liberation is heading towards the front and Dabi is just going the other way, I think Dabi is onto Hawks and he's gonna go check on Hawks and Twice.
Yeah, same. Because he's actually quite shown to be quite good friends with Twice, considering that he's not really the type to be friends with anyone. They pair up quite a lot, so it'd be cute if he was going after his friend.
Yeah, and I was thinking too, like, in the guidebook, Twice is considered an S-level threat, and for Hawks to be taking him on by himself, like, I don't have high hopes that he's going to succeed here.
No, there's no way. Hawks is doomed from the start. I love Hawks, but like, there's no way he's making out of this.
I don't know if I believe he is going for Twice. Because Horikoshi always does this at the end of the chapter where he makes us think it's going one way and then he's like, oh no, it's the opposite. So I don't want to get sucked into it again.
What? So you think Hawks is going to deliver Twice a piece of cheese and feed him with all this?
I don't know. I think maybe we saw the the ground crashing. Maybe he had just used all his feathers to save Twice as his friend. And now he's going to give him a warning, be like, hey, you should get out of here, buddy. And that's why all of his feathers are there.
Maybe.
Pointed at him.
Yeah, I just feel...
They're slowly coming away. They just dropped him safely on the ground rather than falling down from the Harry Potter-esque looking staircases.
Oh my gosh.
I just thought they were positioned to, like, potentially prevent him to make clones, because if they do spawn, then they'll be stabbed by the feathers right away.
Right.
That was what my thought was.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that you're not, or not saying you're wrong, Sophie, because he does mislead us all the time, so...
Oh no, I probably am wrong. This is probably the one time where he's not misleading us and I'm like, haha, I'm onto you, Horikoshi. No, I'm wrong again.
I mean, we still don't know what happened to Best Genius, so I still don't know what Hawks' deal is right now.
Yeah.
If Best Genius was alive, I feel like now would be a good time for him to turn up and be like, haha, I wasn't dead and cut up in a bag.
Or he says, you tried killing me, Hawks, I'm gonna end you. And Hawks really did try to kill him.
Ooh.
Yeah, it just seems so fantastic that he would kill him to prove himself, because that is a big deal. Like
pretty
murdering
extreme,
somebody.
honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, that doesn't make sense to me. Never did.
Maybe he just wanted to be the number 2 so he could get closer to Endeavour and his bromance. We didn't understand how much of a fanboy he really is.
Well, he was number 2 already.
No, it wasn't Best Genius number 2 and
No,
Hawks was
number
number 3.
number 3.
Oh, well.
Yep.
It's my
He wanted to
fanboy
get rid
theory
of the
gone.
competition either way. Like there was a love triangle thing going on between Genist, Endeavor, and Hawks.
You heard it here first, I guess.
I have to imagine though Best Genius is fine because Bakugo still needs to tell him his hero name, which I am desperately waiting for. I really want to know what it is, and I hope it's not bad.
Yeah. Right. So was anyone not really hyped about this chapter?
No, I was hyped.
Yeah, so I was pretty hyped. So like I think everybody was, just because like this is a huge like arc already. So.
So if we go around as we did when we started, Gary, what did you think? What was your favourite?
My favorite moment, probably where the Vanguard and the heroes are facing off. Just that kind of double spread.
The Captain America Civil War.
I guess.
He does these double spreads quite a lot, doesn't he? He did one. Wasn't it the in the not in the when they're in the forest, or was it when they went to rescue Bakugo?
I know he's done it before,
villains.
like a few times before.
They always look so good.
Oh well,
Yeah.
I do want to make a note on that illustration, if I may.
Yeah.
If you see the wizard guy, he's like got his hands up for some reason.
Yeah.
He's like, watch these hands.
Yeah.
Coronavirus. Make sure you wash them.
He touches his face. No, just kidding.
Oh no.
Oh,
I-
that's why the baker lady's touching her face.
Oh yeah.
I didn't notice Silky in the background behind the lion hero and
Oh,
above that
wow.
gum.
Wow,
Oh, yeah,
he is
Tucky.
just like.
He there.
Oh, that's a cute inclusion.
I love Shucky too. The wizard guy, I'm excited by. I love his design.
Yes.
It's good. And one thing too, like we kind of noted it when we talked about the pictures of the Vanguard peoples, but my granny character and the one female character right behind her with like the watermelon mask or whatever that is. They both have that dot on their forehead, and I was kind of questioning whether they were related.
Oh yeah.
Potentially that was a mole or something, but we also have the guy with like the holes all through his body, like touching her back kind of affectionately. So I wonder, like, if it's a mother and like her 2 kids, that is like so cute, and I want them to win.
What was the name of the commander that they Sanctum, right?
Yes.
I'm now wondering who Sanctum actually is, because Sanctum seems to be really way in the back, or if that is Sanctum, the guy who we assumed
Right.
with the mustache.
Yeah.
So I'm very confused, and I do wonder if a lot of these Liberation members are gonna go nameless, which is kind of a bummer to me, because the Shi Hasakai for Overhaul's crew, they all had names, and they were so,
Right.
at least to me, unmemorable.
Yeah.
So, and these guys all look amazing, and so
Right.
I really hope we get some names.
Yeah, I hope they at least get a chance to shine. I want names, and I was thinking too, like you have the little old granny on the front line. Like,
Yeah,
right
if
in the
she
back.
sank them, oh no.
No. That'd be a twist.
I will say that I do like that Hody Jones is in this.
Oh, in the back, yeah.
Yeah, he looks like Hody Jones.
Oh,
The
oh
evil
no.
wolf. That's what I'm saying. It's just more muscular
He's going to pump everybody
Oh.
up with the evil drugs.
Kind of looks like a street shark too.
I really loved the shipping in this, but my favourite wasn't just that Cementos looked like he's pooping. He's been my favourite teacher through the whole time. His smile is so cute when we see him smile. So I love that we're going to see a fight with, hopefully we'll see a fight with so many pro heroes. That would be so cool. And it would be nice to see if Midnight can do more than just make people sleep with her body spores.
Mm.
I mean, it's a good power, but I'd like to see more ways that she can use it. And Horikoshi's so creative.
Yeah.
This chapter's hyped me up so much.
So creative, yet Momo still makes 2 cannons every time.
Yeah, she keeps that book that's got all her
Yeah,
like,
what's the point of the book?
information she and maybe it's just different types of cannons.
Or the book is just for the one canon.
Well, yeah. Jay, what were your favourite parts?
My favorite, aside from Kaminari's shining moment, I love the after midnight telling Kaminari think about the person who matters to you most, which I love the wording about that. It's not the people, right? So it's not his class. It's like the person, and then he turns back to where everyone else is, and then he has this little moment with Jiro. Whether she actually heard him or did she hear her? Because in the USJ incident, Kaminari was able to. He said the signals were jammed, but he was able to send out electric signals or something like that, or receive messages. I remember them mentioning that, and they never go back into it, which I think spawned a big traitor theory idea that with Kaminari was faking that no messages were coming through.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, could Jiro and Kaminari send signals to each other? And so did he hear her say, "Get it done, Charge Bolt"? Regardless, either way, it's gonna be a very anime-esque moment, but I live for that stuff, and it's so cute, and him turning to her, getting that affirmation, and then him whipping back and dashing ahead, that is amazing. If that's not love, I don't know what else this is, and this whole series is pointless. Yeah, that's how I felt about this chapter.
Very, very strong feelings. And James, what did you think?
Literally the same. They're so cute together. I don't care. I love the shipping for them.
Thank you,
cute.
Man.
But I'm gonna have to pick a different favorite panel now. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you can pick the same one. You know.
No, yeah, it is. No, I do love their shipping. It's so cute. Get it, Kaminari, you got it. But I will say one of another good panel was the whole building warping because of Cementos's cement powers. He just kind of doesn't even bother knocking. Just makes a giant gaping hole into the building. But other than that, I will say I did like Fringe Man's face too. He had a really good face in page 7.
Yeah.
Page 7.
Yeah, if you see where he's kind of directing people, he's just wide open mouth.
Yeah.
And I love his expressions. I want more Fridge Man, that's why. And I want to know when he's going to use his fridge powers again.
He looks a lot like I don't know if any of you guys are watching Keep Your Hands Off Azoken, but he looks a lot like Kanamori, and I'm just like, that's incredible.
Oh my god.
I feel like if you took this panel out of context of him freaking out, Skeptic freaking out, and be like, oh, this is from the Azoken manga of Kanamori yelling at everyone as the producer being exactly get her. Back to work, stop thinking about if we're finishing the film, draw faster. People would believe that.
She's my favorite character in that anime.
Very, very inspirational, yes, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I was just the Cementos ripping open the building and the Kaminari Jiro shipping. It's canon now.
It's gotta be. I'm still so burnt from Horikoshi draws his influence from the big Shonen Jump 3 of his time, Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece, and I always so burnt from Naruto when Hinata literally risks her life to save Naruto, and then they don't talk for the entire series.
Oh my god.
She literally died for you and came back to life and was like, I love you, and he just didn't talk to her at all, and then decides to hold her hand at the end. He's like, yeah, I guess I like you. I'm just like, what?
Oh my god, yes. Throughout the whole entire thing, it was she confessed her love right at that moment and stuff, and she was getting thrown around. And I'm like, nothing really happens until you unless you watch the last movie. I think that's where he kind of tells her that he likes her, and it's kind of not even
no, it's not
very
even
romantic. He's like, I love you. That's it. That's all he says.
I think I like her. She gave me this scarf. I think I like her. I was like, dude, she saved your life. Oh, I don't know. So that's why I'm kind of this is very gratifying to to, because most Shonen Jump authors are, or at least Battle Shonen, are very shy or bad at writing romance. So and it's kind of nice to at least get it within the action in a more gratifying moment like this. And let's get more of it. Let's get more of it. I don't want a Deku Uraraka one because that's not really my ship, but we'll probably get it anyway.
I want Deku Mei for some reason, but I think they're just more
I can see that. Yeah.
Ooh, who's your?
They're both obsessive, so it's just like.
My ship is Inasa and Mei because she has so much passion.
Oh, he likes passion. Yeah, that's a good one. I haven't even thought about that.
Oh, imagine if they got married and you lived in the house next door to them. They would be the worst neighbours. They'd be loud all the time.
They would accidentally destroy things all the time. They would keep blowing up the house, and
This is the third TV you've taken apart.
Inasa would be into it though.
Yeah, he would respect that.
Jay, who do you ship Izuku and Ochako with then, if not each other? Are you a Bakugo Ochako shipper?
Honestly, yes. There hasn't been a lot of interaction with them, unfortunately, but in the beginning, like with the sports festival stuff, with their fight, and everyone's saying like, oh man, Bakugo was so overpowered compared to her, and Bakugo was saying like, oh, what do you mean? Like she was just as strong or something. I forget the exact lines, but I was like,
what about her was fragile?
They have, yes, exactly, yeah, that line. They have a good rapport for each other, and there was that one Omake chapter about I forget where it was in. It was Bakugo turns around to go yell at Deku, but it seemed like Deku and Uraraka switched seats for the day, and Uraraka was kind of like telling Bakugo, I don't know if you guys read this, but it's basically like her asking Bakugo like, why do you hate Deku so much? And like they just had this like honest conversation about that, and I'm like, this is great. I need more of them like talking to each other, but we're not gonna get it. And I guess we'll have our very vanilla couple, and that's fine. Or unless it's a big twist because Uraraka keeps saying it's not like that with Deku. So every time someone Ashido asks her, we'll see. Maybe we'll be surprised. I do like Kirishima and Mina though a lot.
Yeah, they do seem like just like Kaminari and they seem like, I forgot her name.
Jiro,
yeah. Kaminari and Jiro seem like
first you don't like Gentle Criminal, and now you forget Jiro's name.
No, I love Jiro. I love Jiro. I just forgot her name for a millisecond. Just like they're set up here, it looks like Kirishima and Mina have been set up. It was that one panel where they were looking at each other with cherry blossoms in the background. I was like, it's love.
I was gonna say, I kind of got that as a mutual respect kind of thing when I first read that part.
I see. I could take it either or. Like, if they do confess feelings, great. If they don't and they end up being really good friends, I'm like, that's great too. So, but Kaminari Jiro has to be definite. Like that can't be. We can't skip this.
Yeah, I always liked Jiro and Momo, but this is.
They're very cute too.
This is so good.
I do like Jiro and Momo. They're really nice.
Cool. And unless anyone has anything to add, maybe we'll stop there. Otherwise, we will just keep going on about shipping. Sorry, Gary, what were you saying?
I was just gonna say, like, do any of you think there's any connection between Kaminari and the taser guy because of the hair and the electric powers?
I hope not.
Yeah.
No. At first, when I first noticed the thing, I was like, if Kaminari ends up being the traitor, that would go in with the liberation
right
pose that he did. But I like to believe that one of them dyed those streaks in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna say because Kaminari is a natural electric quirk user, it seems like being able to generate it. I think Kaminari's is natural, and the Vanguard guy is a poser.
It would be funny if they were not related, and the Vanguard guy was just like, Genki, my son, or something like that, and everyone it's like, ah, but it's like a false alarm, or a Darth Vader moment.
That'd be interesting.
Oh.
Oh, I also now I'm sorry. I'm looking at this panel of the guy, the Vanguard guy, being shocked as lightning's being sucked up by Kaminari. I didn't notice that the lettering on his exclamation point was a lightning bolt.
Oh
Yeah.
That's cute.
He looks more like bewildered than like shocked that his like power was sucked up. He looks more like he's like, oh,
Man, let me have my pun.
yeah.
Okay, does anyone have anything else to add? No.
No.
This is my hero academia.
Okay, so we have 2 emails. The first one is from Black North Wind, and he said, "Hello, MHA Pod. So this week's episode reminds me of Labrava's secret skill with computer hacking. So, oh, my phone just shut down. So by any change, she will use that skill of hers to destroy Skeptic's surveillance system to create chaos on the villain's end, thus freeing Hawks in the process as well."
You telling me Gentle Hero and Labrava are gonna come back? I'm very into this idea. Whoever you are, bless you for your inspired galaxy brain thinking. I don't think it's likely, but it'd be cool.
Or on the other end, she could be hacking the prison system and letting All for One out.
Oh no.
No,
Well,
they're not villains anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever.
No, I think they'll be late because they had to go get some tea first.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll show up like after everything is already done because they had to go get their tea by
You
the hardware
just had to
store or
get Gold
whatever.
Tips Imperial, didn't you?
I feel like after, like, we know that the police were trying to get her to work with them with her hacking skill. I feel like she will become like a hero aide, but I don't think it will be now. There's a lot going on already with this arc, so I don't think that will be something that they'll add to this arc.
But hopefully,
But it
why
would
not?
be really cool.
Everybody's here.
It would be cool if there was like a second facet to her power that like whoever she hates the most, she can like weaken their power immensely. That would be sweet.
That'd be interesting.
Oh, I'd like to see her angry face. That would be so cute with her fist just, ooh, you.
And, like furrowed eyebrows. Like
Furiously typing at her computer.
Yes. Oh. Okay, so our next email is from Frederick, and he said, "Hello, My Hero Academia podcast. I just finished watching the new MHA movie, and I was wondering if you would recommend any other shonen movies from series like Dragon Ball, One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach. Really enjoy listening to you at work. Keep up the good work. Fred."
I have some thoughts to that. I recently showed a group of friends One Piece who had never seen One Piece before. Just gave them the basics of like, assuming that you haven't seen the series before, but if you have, then you already know. But like, I just gave them the basics of who the characters are and what the setting is. And I showed them One Piece film Gold. I know some friends on the One Piece podcast are always surprised that film Gold is my favorite of the One Piece movies. But I think it's the perfect encapsulation of what that series is in terms of what their arcs are. It's always the Straw Hats finding a new town or city. It seems like a paradise. It's secretly not, and they need to inspire everyone around them to change their lives and save the day. It's usually how it goes. And it's fun. It's the Straw Hats go to Vegas.
Yeah.
That
That's
one's
basically
fun.
it.
Yeah. For Naruto, I would say Road to Ninja is really fun because it's an alternate reality. It's basically Toby uses a precursor of his Sharingan ability of like casting an illusion on Naruto and Sakura, and they're set in a reality where everything's flipped. Like Naruto's parents are still alive, but Sakura's parents died. And Hinata isn't shy. She's like very abrasive and like punky. It's kind of interesting. Kiba, even though he still has Akamaru, he's like, I really want to be a cat ninja. I hate being a dog ninja.
I love that.
That was really nice. It was really interesting. And Sasuke being like back in the village and being a playboy was incredible. So that's a really fun movie to check out.
You
Oh yeah, go ahead.
you made me think everybody wants to be a cat ninja.
Yeah, exactly. Who doesn't? I want to be a cat ninja. Why not?
Does anyone have any Dragon Ball film recommendations?
Ooh, I like Tree of Might was pretty good.
That's a good one.
I think that's the first one that I watched that really got me into it. Dead Zone is pretty good, but do not watch the filler for the anime because it's a horrible filler.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion.
Yeah, no, Dead Zone wasn't fun.
I like the animation in Dead Zone, but it's not as good. I think Tree of Might is probably I don't know. It's so in my eyes, it's so good. I think just because I'm just speaking from nostalgia, but.
Mm-hmm. I took a friend to see One Piece Stampede with me, and he had never watched One Piece before and never seen. He's not into anime at all, really.
Yeah,
and I somehow convinced him to go with me. And afterwards, he was like, "That was the weirdest, best thing I've ever seen in my life." And then for a few days afterwards, he just fell in love with the Den Den Mushi and started just sending me merch of the Den Den Mushi that he'd found. I was like, I need these in my life.
I took a friend to see Stampede as well, who knew the bare minimum of One Piece, and I asked him how he enjoyed it, and he had the best description for it. He said, it's like I got to go through a yearbook for a school I didn't go to. I enjoyed the excitement, but I don't know who any of these people are. And I was like, yeah, I'm glad you were able to enjoy it aside from, without knowing what's going on.
I was gonna say, you were talking about Film Gold. I was like, I think I showed my sister Film Gold, and that's how she kind of liked it, but she can't get into the series because she says it's so long, and I'm like, yeah, I know.
It's hard to commit, but when you do, it's so worth it.
It is a put off, and there's so much filler in the anime. I mean, I can't watch the anime anyway in the UK.
Yeah.
But if I could, I don't think I would.
Yeah, I kind of stopped watching the anime. I just read the manga.
Yeah, it's like Naruto. I just couldn't do the dubs. I just read the manga instead. But One Piece Stampede was so much fun.
Yes.
You didn't really need to know the characters or anything going through because the whole plot was nonsense. It was just a good, fun, nonsense time. So
that's all it was, yeah.
Yeah. So if you like silly shenanigans, that's for you.
Also, I will say it's available digitally right now in the US. So
cool.
Oh, so that is the end of the podcast.
I was gonna say Gary didn't say anything, but I don't know.
Yeah,
if do
the only thing I don't really. The only one I've ever seen is the Dragon Ball one with Garlic Jr. and the Spice Boys. But that was a long time ago.
Dead Zone. Yeah.
Dead Zone. Yeah, I didn't remember liking it. If you are fans of Gentle Criminal, check out the Professor Layton movie, Professor Layton and the Eternal Diva. But anyway, I have no point of reference for the shonen ones. I don't really know.
You like Slice of Life the most, don't you, Gary?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I respect it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Thank you.
So thank you again for joining us, Jay. Where can people find you?
Oh, yeah, thanks for having me. It's always good to be on and talk about Gentle Criminal. You can find me on Twitter at jperior, JAYPERIOR. And you can check out the Bounty Light Kickstarter, the comic that I've been working on, all very inspired from My Hero, Haikyuu, and other shonen manga. It's the last week of the campaign. Check it out, spread the word, and I appreciate any contribution.
Ooh. And Gary, where can people find you?
You can find me at Wrath of Giraffe on Twitter. And James, do you mind if I plug Weeb Jammin'?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm also with James and a group of other weebs on Weeb Jammin', the podcast where we review a specific anime. This month, we just recorded for Lovely Complex. That was my series pick. And we had a lot of fun and a lot of psychoanalysts of the characters. So, yeah, check that out when it comes out. And
Cool.
you can find that on at @JabandWeeb on Twitter, by the way.
And James, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at that one welder guy, and then you can find my other podcast, the Kicking Stones podcast, which is a Dr. Stone manga review podcast, and you can find that at Dr. Stone Pod on Twitter.
Cool. You can find me on Twitter at Choppers Atlas. I have nothing to plug except to say, keep washing your hands and stay sane. Don't panic. Nurse plug. And then you can find the podcast on Twitter at MHApod, our email myhero@gmail.com, and our website www.mha.pod.com, not .com. So who will be the first to think of a round out?
If imagining random people elsewhere doesn't do the trick, then think of the person who matters to you the most.
And go beyond. Plus
Ultra.
Plus Ultra.
But also, I kind of want the liberation to win, so for the liberation. But
Oh, you're the villain. You're the traitor.
Viva la liberation. Yeah.
This is my hero academia. This is manga news and more. Blood Ultra. Ooh, they're my hero academia.